All right, what's up? Welcome into a special edition of Chat It Up. Greg Leonard, Chase Green is behind the microphone. That's Garrett. I'm used to Chase being next to me.
We're both blonde, I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm used to Chase being next to me. Garrett's Ollie, and I'm obviously Malcolm
Why am I
Harris.
not Chase Green, bro?
Because you're not usually sitting next to me. You're usually across from me.
Oh,
So like we're the heads of the table, dog.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, I got you. We're usually the heads of the table. And then we have a special guest with us today. A man who obviously knows his way around the Chattanooga Lookouts. He does a lot of the in-stadium announcing, and he also does some stuff in the marketing and department. Alex Tainsh is with us here.
Hey, what's up, guys? Greg, Malcolm, hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we are a day away from Lookouts baseball. Super excited.
Yeah, Director of Marketing and Entertainment is the title I was looking for. I was looking at his bio and I'm like, I can't find it. Oh, there it is, right above his picture. So yeah, Alex does a lot with the Lookouts. He's been there. This will be his 10th season with the Lookouts. Does it feel like 10 years? You started there when you were in your mid-20s.
Yeah, I mean, wow, when you say it like that, Greg, yeah, I mean, it doesn't. When you think about it, you're like, wow, yeah, I've been here 10 years. You know, when I got here, I was in my mid-20s. I was someone everybody was like, that's a young person right there. And now I'm, 10 years later, we have, a lot of people that are 22, 23, 25 that work for us, and we're in different worlds, So it does, in some senses, it feels like a long time. It feels like just yesterday we were getting ready for our first season, and
now
year 10, here we go.
That's awesome. Well, I would jump into it because I have so much to ask.
Jump in, man.
Let's hear it.
So let's just talk about the obvious. The stadium is coming. There's so much happening in terms of the Lookouts, this new energy. What is it like just being on this new era that is about to usher into Chattanooga, just with the development of the stadium, the surrounding area? Kind of give us some insight on how that process has been and what's to come for the city.
Yeah, well, it's something we're tremendously excited about. I mean, people like myself, and there's 4 or 5 others of us that have been there 10 plus years. And this is something, we've been thinking about and talking about for years and years at this point. And the fact that we're so close to, officially being there, just got a couple procedural votes to wrap up. And then we're hoping to be building by beginning of May. And, then it's going to be, really, really exciting when the stadium opens up, whether that be hopefully middle of next year, whenever that is. It's going to be so exciting. But really, and beyond that, too, it's just exciting because along with the new stadium, we're kind of leveling up everywhere. So our staff's bigger, our budgets are going to be bigger. We're going to be able to do so much more. And you're already starting to see it with things. We have the biggest staff we've had since I've been there going into this season. And, because of that, we're able to do things like the Wreckers that, I'm sure we might talk about, and just bigger promotions. And hopefully we'll have, just our best year in terms of food and beverage and all that kind of stuff. So we're just able to put on a better product. And I feel like every year since I've been here, we've done that, and we're positioned to just really take it to a whole nother level when we move to what's really going to be one of the best stadiums, if not the best minor league stadium in the entire country.
That is awesome. Me loving Chattanooga and seeing you and the energy that you bring, it really is refreshing. And to know that that's going to continue and be bigger and better, I can't wait for it. And I'm super excited. And I know you just mentioned something that I'm really excited about, the Wreckers.
Yeah, that's another fun one that's coming up. We'll be wearing that, kicking that off April 26th and 27th. For anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, so minor league baseball teams about 10, 15 years ago started playing under what's called alternate identities. It started with a lot of food identities. The Fresno Grizzlies were kind of the first ones to do it when they became the Fresno Tacos, because they allege that Fresno is the birthplace of the taco. It's heavily disputed, but it's something that people from Fresno are very passionate about. It was a huge success, a game-changing success. So a bunch of other teams started doing it. In Albuquerque, you have the green chili cheeseburger. It was a way to, highlight, again, something unique about your community, which is what we love to do in minor league baseball. And then it grew out from there beyond food. and we're super, super excited to dip our toe into it with the Chattanooga Wreckers, being able to highlight Chattanooga as the birthplace of the tow truck, which did you all know that?
I had no idea.
I know there's a transportation museum that we have here.
I was going to ask you why the Wreckers, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So Ernest Holmes Sr., I've learned all this information in the last year or so. He invented the tow hitch, and not only, and then lived here, ran his business here, and it kind of became a hub for the towing industry. Miller Industries, still here today. They're the #1 producer of tow trucks, tow hitches, tow equipment in the entire world. I mean, they're selling stuff all over the globe. They're a huge business. So we're just excited to highlight that. The International Towing Museum and Hall of Fame is right here. So it's just a cool part of our history here in Chattanooga and our present. And we're excited to have that super cool truck logo and just to be able to wear that for 6 games throughout the year.
That is going to be
sick.
Sweet.
It's going to be sick. And that color wave is outstanding
it is.
too. Like, I really love the colors and just like the little splash here and there. Like, I was actually at the stadium looking at jerseys.
Yeah.
So you can buy them probably.
yeah,
We got them. Yeah.
They're there. They are there, fitted caps. Like, it's about to be on.
Yeah, and that's about part of it too with an alternate identity is, our lookout stuff is amazing. And my favorite color when I was a kid was red. So it works out great for me. But some people don't like red. Some people might not think they look great in red. So, but I'm sure you do. But whoever you are, whoever it is. But some people might want that orange, might want that blue. That might be more. So it's just about giving more options for people to show their support.
So we have a lot of things to look forward to with the Lookouts, but a lot of tradition with the last stadium, last year in this stadium. What are some of the big things that are coming up this season as we kind of wrap it up?
Yeah. So, I mean, we always have a tremendous slate of promotions. That's what I get to spend a lot of time preparing, getting ready. So we, of course, will have our fireworks every single Friday night that we're doing. But a couple of the real exciting things, maybe not for anybody in this room, but we're going to have an appearance from the world famous Bluey from the television show is coming out to a game. Anyone out there who has a child between the ages of 2 and 6 probably is like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. Everyone else is like
billions of views. Bluey,
but yeah, Bluey, and it actually is a really good show. Check it out. But Bluey will come Sunday, June 30th. So that one is going to be real exciting. We'll, of course, have our 3rd annual Negro Leagues Appreciation Weekend coming up June 15th and 16th. That will be with the Bessie Smith Cultural Center again. We'll have former Negro Leagues players out there. And on the Saturday, we're giving out a Choo Choo's branded lunchbox because we play. It's going to be sweet. Because let's see, 2 years ago we did a lunchbox, it's like a jersey lunchbox with the home jersey. Last year we did one with the Nooga jersey. This year we're doing it with the Chattanooga Choo Choos, which we're excited about. So that will be on the Saturday of Negro Leagues weekend, and and we of course are honoring the Negro Leagues team here that played here, the Chattanooga Choo Choos. If people don't know, that's Willie Mays. That was his first professional team that he played for.
Wow.
He is not officially credited because he was only 15 or 16, but his dad would drive him up from Birmingham in 1920 or whatever year it was, just so he could play, because they would let him play here, but they wouldn't let him play in Birmingham because he was too young. So that's pretty cool there. And then July 6th, probably our biggest giveaway of the year, we got Ellie De La Cruz bobblehead. So, which would look great on this little table.
Let's right people. Here, first 1,000 people get them, man. I was like, I want to line up for that.
First, that one's going to be get there early for that one. We actually got the sample came in last week. I was a little surprised. I didn't know it was coming, and I pulled it out. I was like, oh wow, that looks good. So we're excited for that one. So and then we have so many other things. We do so many great community nights. We got Strikeout Epilepsy Night that we'll be doing again. Our Deaf Awareness game we'll be doing again. That'll be the last game of the season. But you can head to lookouts.com to see all of our promotions. But it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and there's still a couple that we're still working on that we'll hopefully get to announce soon. So there's a couple final things that's coming out there, but it should be a really, really fun year on top of the July 4th fireworks and Thirsty Thursday and all that good stuff.
I was just going to say, don't forget about Thirsty Thursdays, the 2-for-1 beer specials, and then the Star Wars night too. I think you.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite night of the year. I can't believe
you.
I forgot. It's actually, we're not home on May 4th, so it is going to be May 9th this year, but still the spirit of May 4th.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's like a super fun night for me. We'll have our Marvel superhero night, just action packed. We got a golf night this year coming up on May 22nd, and it's a World Softball night we did last year, and that was a huge success. We had like 35 teams came out and they marched around the warning track, did a pregame parade. So that was, we'll do that again this year. We'll have to get you and your team out there.
Hey, yeah. I mean, shoot. I mean, is it young teams?
Well, I mean, we had some of the UTC folks out. I think they threw a first pitch on more of that side. So the college teams come out. I think they like did some autographs and that. Cool. So we'll talk.
Yeah,
we'll get but it is, the teams, we target selling teams to come out that are in the, kind of 8 to 15, 16 range. But then we had the college teams come out to add some life to it and have some fun with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the girls love that whenever we have young little softball players come out, throw a first pitch. We've had that a couple of times this year. You mentioned something about, I believe, Epilepsy Night that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You serve on the board of Epilepsy Foundation of Southeast Tennessee. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with them?
Yes, that's technically something else on there that's slightly dated. I rolled off the board, but I was on the board for 6 years and still very active with the foundation there. So yeah, that's an organization that I got involved with, I think in like 2015. And it actually just came about from getting to know them from the Lookouts, because they came out and did a couple different events with us. They were doing a kind of different form of the Strikeout Epilepsy Night at that time, and they were looking to add some new folks to their board, some younger folks to their board, and somebody that had some marketing and that kind of thing was a nice fit. So I don't have a direct connection to epilepsy, but I just got to know the people, and they were a good group, and so I was on the board there and served as the chairman for a couple years, and then still have a great relationship with them. And that just speaks, we try to have everyone on our staff involved in something with the community. So whether it be on a board or whether it be just do volunteering or something. I'm also involved with the Miracle League of Chattanooga, which you've never been out there. It's awesome. It takes place Saturday mornings. We start up our first Saturday home game is the first day of Miracle League, so that'll be a fun long day. I'll be out there at 9 a.m. at outside Warner Park at the zoo, and then over to the Lookouts. But I'm an announcer over there, so we encourage everyone to try to get involved with something, because we want everyone to have their whole lives, not just be the Lookouts, especially because a lot of us move to town to work for the team. So you start to meet people and that kind of thing, and then just build your networks and, try to get people excited about Lookouts baseball.
Y'all want to go? I got more, but like
no. I was saying, please, you're cooking up right now.
I've got another question for you when it comes to what you do with the Lookouts. This might be something that's dated. I don't know if it is. I apologize. Well, I'm sure it's great. It says that you also obviously you do the in-game hosting, in the stadium hosting and whatnot during the games, but it also says you host an online web series.
Oh, that's dated, man. We really got to update this.
Are you
doing this exercise?
Brutal. Yeah,
I was seeing all this cool stuff. And
good. I was like, Lookouts looking so that we were doing that up until the pandemic, and then just kind of haven't brought it back. But maybe we will, and we can bring you all on. But yeah, that was fun. I just would interview. Started with our full-time, staff members, just to kind of get to know everybody and that kind of thing. And then we, ended up doing some players. We did some different sponsors. We had the guys. Speaking of Star Wars night, we had one of my most fun ones. One of the big groups that comes and helps us out with that night is Chattanooga, which if you're around town here, they go out to all kinds of events. They're a big cosplaying group. Great group of nice people. They've been coming out and helping us out with nights for years. And we brought a couple of them on the show and just talked about, what they do and why they like to do it. And that was super, super fun. So they are all still floating around on the internet. So while we're not currently doing it, you can still check them out there. If you want to hear an interview of me talking to Andrew Zito, our vice president, or Rich, our president, it's out there.
Very nice. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today. Obviously, you've been doing this for 10 years, as we mentioned. You're, obviously the in-stadium host, as we mentioned, the director of marketing and entertainment. You've worked with the Nationals. You were, I believe, in Albuquerque before this. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to do what you're doing today, because I think there are so many people and kids that see you and see your red jacket and love the energy, like Miggy had mentioned before, that you bring to the stadium and the in-game experience to the Lookouts. And minor league baseball is a lot about in-game experience, and you bring a lot to that. So tell us a little bit about your background as a person and how you got a chance to be where you are today.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a sports family. So we were, I had an older brother and a younger brother. So I'm one of 3 boys, middle child. So that might speak to wanting to be in front of the crowd and get that attention. I was that middle child there. So I got to show off. No, I'm cool too. But yeah, so I grew up in Rhode Island and a huge sports family. So, I mean, baseball was always the number one sport, but you name it, we were always out there, always playing sports. Everything was, kind of about sports growing up. I was never especially super good at them, but I was all right, but nothing good there. And then I went to college at George Washington and didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was a business major because it was like, that seems practical. And then I found out when I got there that there was a thing called sports management, which I didn't even know really existed at the time. I was like, that sounds like you could work in sports for a job. And then I looked into it and you could. Just kind of started to get into that there and learned more and more. And then, it's all about getting experience. And then it was time to get a job. And I was lucky enough to get some internships with some different organizations. There was a Greater Washington Sports Alliance, which actually worked on bringing events to DC. So I got to work like the Frozen Four one year there, and like a marathon we did, an Ironman. Frozen Four was really cool. It was a year, I forget who was, it was like Miami against somebody, and somebody was up 3, Miami of Ohio. Someone was up, not University of Miami. Somebody was up 3-1 with like 2 minutes to go and blew the lead and lost. We'd have to look at the Google, but it was wild because I was like, my job was to be, it was probably, it would have been 2009. So it would have been like the 08-09 season. But my job was like, I was with the band. So I was with the band, like telling the band like when they were supposed to play for one of the schools. And it was the school. It might have been Vermont that lost.
It was the BU, Boston University Terriers that were the champions, the runner-up Miami.
Okay, yeah. So I was with Miami, and it was like 2 minutes ago, and we were talking about how the end of the game was going to go because I was like, assuming you all win, and then all of a sudden the just bottom fell out.
You were the one that
I blew it, but you got to be prepared, Greg. You got to know, they got to know when they're going to play after the game. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so, and then right when I was graduating, I didn't really have any sort of specific jobs. So I was just going to plan to go home and see what happens. But then a professor of mine told me that the Nationals were looking for another intern for their ticket operation. So I went in and talked with them. And then a week later, I was working my first game, doing ticket operations with the Nationals, which was super cool. All of a sudden to be working in Major League Baseball at this beautiful facility and going in there and exchanging tickets. And my main job would be to exchange season ticket holder tickets. And this was before everything was digital and they could just do it themselves and all that. So people would mail us tickets with like a letter that said, I couldn't come to this game. Please exchange my tickets for 6 tickets for this game. Wow. So then I'd go into the system and I'd exchange their tickets, print them out, and then mail them new tickets. That was like the main thing I was doing.
Yeah. You could do that.
Yeah. This was, it was season ticket holder perk. So it was only for season ticket holders. Yeah. Not just any single game. But that was just really cool. And that's when I really started to, just fall in love with the game atmosphere. And I guess even when I was a kid, when we'd go to stuff, I'd often be sometimes more interested in everything else that was kind of happening outside of the game sometimes. So that really, I've always been interested in the show side of it. And then when I was with the Nationals, my supervisor there, he had come up through minor league baseball and he sort of started teaching me about that world. And then recommended I go to the winter meetings where at the time they did a big job fair. So I went out there, Indianapolis, and talked to a bunch of different teams. And that was just wild because suddenly I'm, among hundreds of other people that want to also work in minor league baseball. And, you get somebody else is also interested in the same thing you're interested in and talk about all the minutiae and details. So that was really cool and ended up getting a job with the Albuquerque Isotopes as a marketing and sales intern. That was really cool. I'd never been out to the desert, anything like that. Thought I'd be there for 6 months. Ended up being there for 3 years because I worked full time, and then wanted to get kind of back on this side of the country, and wanted to get more in the marketing and promotion side, and then was able to get a job with the Lookouts, doing some corporate stuff and marketing, and then that turned to more and more marketing. So that's kind of how that side of it happened. And then the the in-game hosting and stuff, always something I have always liked to kind of be the person on the microphone, be in front of people. If there was a chance to be an announcer or a caller or anything like that. I did sports talk radio in college. Also done some stand-up comedy and that kind of thing, which is real cool. Do you do stand-up?
Maybe.
Have you done it? You've done it? How, like, are you actively doing it?
I'm trying to
do it. Okay, yeah.
I think Garrett could too.
Yeah,
I'm sure you all could. Yeah,
you would kill it.
Boy, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've done a decent bit of that throughout the years. I still do it, but just not as much as I'd like to. But I know people in town. If you need some introduction,
I will take you up on that.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely, and take you out. But and then I did in Albuquerque. I was lucky. I had the opportunity to do a few games as the in-game host in my first couple of years there, because the guy there had been there for a long time, and just some days when there wasn't a big crowd, didn't really want to do it. So he was like, "You can do it." But then, so then when I came here, I was like, kind of like, well, I've done it before, so how about if I do it here? And they're like, sure. And then that was 10 years ago. I've been doing it ever since. So that's just a really fun part of the job, because I get to just interact with so many people. And that's really what it's all about, is just helping people come out and have fun, cheer on the Lookouts, and have a good time.
That's awesome. I want to ask you something, because there's so many kids and folks that want to get into working in athletics, but they're scared because it just seems like the opportunities aren't there, or it's super competitive, or I don't know. And they just don't even try. What do you have to tell to those folks that want to be in your shoes? Because you have a one-of-one job. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of them. And the thing is, especially like marketing and broadcasting, and like the jobs within the industry that's already kind of hard to get into, the jobs that are even more quote unquote desirable, once people get them, they don't leave. When a guy becomes the broadcaster of a Major League Baseball team, he's there for 40 years,
right.
So there isn't a ton of them, so it can be tough because it is very competitive. It's a supply and demand. There's more people that want to work in sports than there are jobs in sports. But the good news is those jobs are continuing to grow and expand. The industry just keeps getting bigger, keeps getting more popular across the board. The sports might toggle up and down a little bit, but it's continuing to grow. So more and more jobs are being created. But the number one thing is just a want to. It's got to be more than just like, well, I like sports and I need a job, so why don't I work in sports? You got to want to work in sports. Yeah. So, you got to be willing to take those internships. You got to be willing to, potentially move to a different city, because there are only so many jobs. But really, that's the key to it, is to, get an opportunity, any opportunity it is, whether it's, an internship at your college, or even volunteering at races, getting some sports things on your resume, not being afraid to email people or call people up that have a job that you want, and just be like, hey, can I talk to you about your job, whatever it is. So it really is a want to is the number one thing, and just to be willing to work hard. A lot of it's not rocket science, at the end of the day. So it's really just about, are you, willing to put in the hours and willing to deal with, I think every single person just about that works in the, sports industry could go to another industry and make more money.
For sure.
So, you got to make that kind of choice as well. So, but it's doing something that, we all grew up. If anyone that I work with, for the most part, if you could go back to our 8-year-old selves or our 9-year-old selves, and when we were going to, a minor league baseball game or a sporting event, and you told the 9-year-old me, like, that person that's coming out and talking to the crowd, like, that's going to be you one day. Like, what could have been cooler than that?
Of course.
I think he brings up a good point, because like a lot of kids do want to, go into sports, and you got to mention, as the stadium kind of comes open, there's always more opportunities coming about. I mean, how does the Lookouts kind of help kids get into sports, if at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So, First off, we talked to a lot of different classes. Andrew, our vice president, he's been working with the UTC, sports marketing or sports management department for years and years. And by extension, we've all kind of been involved a little bit with all of that. So he's does some projects with them throughout the year. He goes and speaks with them. So we're always trying to get out there and speak to classes and reach folks. That being said, the number one way that we can really start is by offering game day positions. So if you're in town here and you're in high school or you're in college and you think you're interested, work for us game days. We got a million different jobs in all our different departments. Video production upstairs. That's a great place to start. Promotions team. If you're looking to work in sports, or really anywhere, ticket operations, food and beverage, you're getting to see the business. It would have been a huge advantage to me if when I was 16, I was working for the local minor league team, the Pawtucket Red Sox, just because you get to start seeing in action. And then, we have an internship program that's, it's really more of an assistantship program designed for recent post grads, to come in and work for us throughout the season. So we kind of bulk up and add 5 or 6 folks that start with us in February of every year and then work through the season right along the full-time staff. We bring about 1 person kind of per department. So we have a ticket operations, a marketing assistant, food and beverage assistant, and all those different retail assistant. And that's really a great opportunity to come in, work right alongside us, learn a ton, decide if it's really what you want to do, because you'll work in a billion hours. And then we have a great track record. I mean, on our staff right now, I think we have 5 people that, started with us as assistants or interns. So it's really designed to get you that full-time job in sports, whether it's not whether with us or with another team. I mean, sometimes there's just not a spot, but then, it's often one team saying, hey, but I know this team is looking for somebody and we told them you were good. So, that happens a lot. So that's how I got into it with Albuquerque. That's really the lifeblood of minor league baseball, is those internship programs that turn into the full-time opportunities.
Love that.
I have a very important question. Now, obviously, I mentioned you're very noticeable when you go to a game because you're wearing the red sports jacket, right?
Yes.
So how many of those do you have? Or how often do you have to get it dry cleaned? Because there are some very hot days out there when the sun is shining down
it's
at
brutal
AT&T
sometimes.
Field, and you are sweating your you-know-what off.
Yes. Sometimes I'm actively I make people uncomfortable. Like people will come up to me and they're like, how are you wearing that? And it seems like they are physically uncomfortable that I'm wearing it. So I do now, if it gets mid 90s and it's really humid, I've started just going shirt and tie because again, people seem to be getting uncomfortable. But let's see, I've got my main red one and I've got my old red one. Then I do have a gray one, but I've become so well known for the red. I don't wear it that often. Then I have, so I think and then I had sports. So I had 5 last year that were kind of in the rotation. I've got a couple more for this year. So now I'll be up to 7. And I usually, it's usually about once a month, get them to the dry cleaner. Should probably be twice a month, but budgets.
Yeah, of course.
Have you tried to get a suit dry cleaned recently? It's everything. Yeah.
Inflation has hit.
Yeah.
All right, my last one. I just want to talk a little bit about the roster and the makeup of this team. And I think part of the appeal outside of the promotions and what you do and just coming and getting a chance to go out and watch baseball and enjoy a nice summer day or spring day or whatever it may be is the real hardcore baseball fans love to look at sort of the roster and the makeup of the team.
Absolutely.
And
stars of tomorrow.
Yes. And you've got 2 top 5 prospects on this roster, and Edwin Arroyo, who's a shortstop, and then Chase Petty, a right-handed pitcher. Talk to us a little bit about those guys and the makeup of this roster this year for you guys.
Yeah, so Petty, we're really, really excited about. He was, a really high draft pick. I think he was in the first round or second round a couple years ago. But, he's a strong young arm. And then also we have Brett Lauder, who is in Dayton right now, but he's the Reds' number 2 overall prospect. He had a great start yesterday with them. So he's hopefully going to be with us, probably in not too long. A lot of people
Wake Forest guy, right?
He was Wake Forest guy there.
Louder.
So we should have good, strong pitching to go with Julian Aguilar, who had a strong year last year, was actually the Reds minor league pitcher of the year. So that's exciting because it all comes down to starting pitching, really. So we're hoping those guys, will be able to do well for us. But definitely Petty is going to be a guy to watch. He pitched today, did all right, but that's all right. It's a long season.
Yeah, it is a very long season. Anybody else got anything?
I was just gonna say, I mean,
Chase got one?
you got one, CG.
got
Hey,
one.
jump in,
Please.
Chaser.
It's right
Hey,
here. for you.
Chase.
What's up, guys? Very important questions. 2 questions.
2.
Miss Wanda, will she be back?
Oh, of course, Miss Wanda's coming back. Absolutely.
3 claps. One
She's
time,
my
Miss
part-
Wanda.
Yes.
Number 2. I know there's been some controversy about this. Will there be soft serve ice cream back in the Lookouts caps this year?
Oh man, no. Sadly, the answer
That's a
is
great
no.
question.
But
Ask him
it's
a
out
tough
of my
question.
hands. It's out
We're
of
not
my
blaming
hands.
you.
Well, one day it will be back. That I can say. We are going to make it happen. Maybe it'll be a new park thing. We'll have some people that are more excited about that than the new park. We'll announce, stadium opening date, and that we'll have ice cream in helmets at that point. But one more fun thing about our roster to get away of that negative ice cream news is we do have a guy that's got a fun story. Anthony Alford playing for us. He's played the last 2 seasons in the Korean Baseball League. Now he's an American guy, but he was playing over there. So that's just a really fun thing. So I think hopefully fans will like. He obviously knows baseball as a show. They do an incredible job over there. I mean, they take minor league baseball and take it 7 levels up. So hopefully he'll be ready to have some fun with fans and all that kind of stuff. So we're excited.
I was going to ask, because it's just in the back of my brain. You're huge into marketing, into just the experience of the game. What are your thoughts about the Savannah Bananas? How do you feel about it? Because you are like the guy when it comes to energy. And just seeing this, like, how do you feel about that experience?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I think it's incredible. I mean, the Savannah Bananas, it's really an amazing story. The one thing I will remind folks is they're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a different, a product. Like people say, are they your competitors or that? No, not at all. I mean, they're unaffiliated and they've created this amazing show, and that's really, they've fused, even more so than we do, where we have, an official game that's got all the official rules and guys are trying to make it to the major leagues and it's all very official and cool and awesome and all that. They've gone the totally other way and stripped out all those kind of rules and just taken the raw entertainment fun and say, you know what? If a guy hits a foul ball and the fan catches it, it's an out, And you know what? If it's 2 hours, we're done. That's enough. Everyone's seen enough, Maybe we're just going to break out into dance after a guy gets on first base. Like they're just going to do all those things. Like, hey, it would be cool. Let's have our pitcher pitch on stilts, So they get to just take that silliness and actually put it into the game.
Right.
And they've done an incredible job with it. And I mean, at this point, it's a phenomenon and it's great for baseball. I mean, they are selling out Major League Baseball stadiums, multiple of them, and they're going to do it all summer long. It's really incredible how it's just kind of swept the entire country. And I really thought it would be kind of a flash in the pan. They'd have their little moment in the sun.
Sure.
And then, a year later, everyone would be like, oh, yeah, okay. I remember when that was cool. But I mean, we're 7 years into it now, and they're going stronger than ever. They had Roger Clemens pitch for them. When they,
Roy Oswalt was there
Roy
too.
Oswalt.
In Houston.
They got Bill Spaceman Lee, who's an old Red Sox pitcher. He is literally on the roster. Like he's like 80 years old. And it's crazy. Then they've just been able to just pick up and do so much with all the energy and everything that's been feeding into it.
Well, speaking of energy, you bring the energy always 100% of the time. You have provided such a great atmosphere just for athletic events. Like I've gone to CFC games, UTC games. Lookouts are my favorite. So I just want to say,
that official on the record.
On
the record.
They definitely are, though.
Yeah, it's just you just make
Thank
it fun.
you. That's our whole goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all love baseball there. We love the product on the field, but we try to take that and just make everything around it so fun and enjoyable. And we try to just be smiling faces for folks to come. Is really a place where the community gathers, and we can't wait to have a great summer where hopefully 250,000 people come on out and have some fun with us.
Alex Tainsh, everybody, the Director of Marketing and Entertainment for the Chattanooga Lookouts, as well as the in-stadium host. It's his 10th season with the Lookouts, and you can't miss him. The red jacket all over the place, maybe the red tie if it's a little warmer out there. So, man, it's been great to see you again. I love when we get a chance to see each other, catch up a little bit, and so glad that you could come on the Chatted Up Sports Show.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Can we get 3 claps for Alex real quick?
1, 2, 3.
Oh,
There it is.
I'm
Hey,
so
follow us
honored.
all over social media at Chatted Up Sports, and we'll be dropping this interview obviously for y'all. And get out to AT&T Field. It's awesome out
It's
there.
the best.
We love the Lookouts, and it's going to be a great season, great spring, great summer with the team. And I know we all can't wait to get out there. And if you'd like to see if you can get us to throw out the first pitch or something like that. I know Mickey's done it before.
Done.
Yeah.
You're talking to the right guy.
Yeah.
A few things I have, pretty heavy influence on. So let's make it happen. Let's pick a date.
Let's do it, baby.
Let's go.
All right, beautiful. Alex, appreciate you as always, buddy.
Thank you.
All right.